Yeah, what would you like to see happen?
This is my fantasy football moment, and everybody has one. I think we had a missed opportunity with Christopher Nolan and Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill would have made. Does this need to be the best actor in the world? Absolutely. Does he need to be capable? As I say, a capable character. I think Henry Cavill could have done that in spades, and then Nolan, as a director who desperately wanted to direct something and maybe even wanted to direct Cavill, could have delivered something very strong that would be commercially successful as well as characterly successful. What do you think about that?
I like it. Do you see, like, if that had happened, because I heard the rumors when that was going around, what, about a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, whenever that was. Also, as part of that, I think what was attached to some of those rumors were that did he want to do a period piece, or was that people projecting on him?
Projecting.
Okay. Because I think that would be very interesting. I think I've heard that from Caleb Daniels first as well. Not positive where I heard it first. But regardless, I think that would be a good way to go, especially after the way they ended the last movie. And if you're looking at the Craig films as it's kind of their own entity in this broader kind of universe, it's a very interesting thing because there's not a parallel to it. But if you did it as period pieces and you go back to the 50s and you take the books, the time that they're written, post-war Europe, and you do them as period pieces, much more closely associated with the books than just grabbing the great titles and attaching to the films that sometimes have nothing to do with the actual books. But you go back to the source material, you go back to that original character, you go back to the books, and you do them as period pieces starting in 1953 or 1952 when it was written, and then came out in 1953, I believe. And you do them like that chronologically, and you work your way from 1952, 53 up to 1964, 65, when we have the posthumously published works.
I'll tell you something. I would be first online for a period piece. Let me tell you the two major issues.
Oh, there's a couple. There might be more. Yeah.
There's probably more, but the two major ones that I've discussed, and some of these I've actually discussed with James Bond brands, some of which you're wearing right now, some of which I'm wearing right now, is number one, they receive so much, I'll call it investment revenue from brand product placement. Wow. That it would be very difficult to do. You would lose the cars in many cases, right? You would lose some of the style, the fashion, the watches, etc. You would lose so many things.
You could go back to Rolex.
You might, right? You might. But I think Omega has it pretty sealed up for the future. That's all I'll say. But you would lose all of that. The second thing is, and this would not do my heart well, I don't think it would do yours as well. You clearly, those are well-loved paperbacks that I see on your desk of James Bond. And the problem is that I don't believe that Hollywood today, and I'll include the producers of Eon, would reflect the books in an accurate way in today's Hollywood. I think you would get maybe a version of it, but I don't know if we as fans would be happy with the version that we would receive. Does that make sense?
It does. And for those who know the Bond films and are just kind of more casual observers and don't go back to Dr. No film-wise or Russia with Love film-wise and kind of know the formula of Goldfinger onward, the books if you stayed so close to the books, they wouldn't necessarily deliver in the way that the films have delivered since Goldfinger onward. I don't think. It might be a little bit off there, but I don't think. But it would be interesting, especially needing to figure out what do you do when you kill off the most successful franchise character in history. What do we do next? A way to reboot that is to go back to the 50s. Like that, I think people can wrap their heads around that. Oh, okay, I got it. Rather than just whatever they're going to do as a contemporary film in a few years. That's going to be very interesting. What do we do? Oh, James Bond was 007 was just a number attached to multiple people throughout the years.
I'm going to give you a forecast, which may date in a couple of years as badly as Taylor Swift.
If you enjoyed this clip, click here to watch the full episode, or click here to watch another clip from the podcast.